Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show that covers sports topics from the Bay Area and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. I'm joined here today in the lovely KSCO studios by a handsome man with athletic thighs, Joaquin Nagel. How you doing, Joaquin?
Doing great, Thomas.
I didn't turn you on. Sorry, how was that?
I'm doing wonderful.
Did you get that reference?
I did not. I missed that one.
It's an Everclear reference.
Oh, okay. I would say I would buy you a new house then,
okay.
Thomas.
Well, I just bought a new car, so a house would be wonderful. Maybe
we'll put awesome decals on the side of your house.
Okay, I'm thinking you're making fun of my car. 14th and East Cliff, I was thinking, around the Twin Lakes area, I can walk to the studio.
Red house, white door.
Oh, see, you're making fun of my car again. All right, that's not fair. On today's show, we're going to talk about the RG3 debacle. We're talking about Dwight Howard being detained at George W. Bush Airport, LA's Olympic bid, and we're going to have our friend Chad King on to talk about the Giants-Dodgers games, which hopefully you're watching right now on mute and listening to this show, or you're listening the next day and the Giants will not be in the playoffs. We will see. Let's start with RG3. Now, he had a meteoric rise coming out of Baylor, had one of the best first seasons. He was in the conversation with Andrew Luck and Russell Wilson in that same draft class of fantastic quarterbacks, and he has just plummeted from there. It's at a point where his head coach, Jay Gruden, has authoritatively declared that Kirk Cousins is going to be the starter for the entire season, barring injury, and RG3 is essentially benched. Is this an all-time low? Is he done with the Redskins?
I don't think he's done with the Redskins. I think Jay Gruden maybe. And look at you tricking me into saying the team name. But
what do you like to call him?
The Washington Professional Football Team.
Okay, all right.
Regardless, I think Jay Gruden was brought in by the megalomaniac owner Dan Schneider to make RG3 a pocket passer. And I think that's still his mandate. I don't think RG3 is done.
But did he ever want to make him a pocket passer? Was he ever committed to that? Because he's always seemed to favor Kirk Cousins. Like, every injury always seems to be a blessing. Like, he let RG3 stay in the game for 4 drives until he got concussed. Why is their starting quarterback in for 4 drives in a preseason game?
That is baffling to me.
So now he's hurt. And he can't come back until week 2, but even then he's not going to be the starter. Robert Griffin needs to be out of Washington. He needs to be on another team as the backup quarterback with a chance to earn a spot.
Well, do you think Dan Snyder would allow him to leave Washington? Is Dan Snyder going to be so committed to his own idea of who RG3 is that they have him play this season and owe him $16 million next season?
Look, it's not even about the money. He paid a king's ransom just to get him. 3 first-round picks and a second-round pick. The Rams embarrassed the Redskins last year by making all of those draft picks the captains for the game that they played against Washington. And they destroyed them in the game. I believe they shut them out. So making a statement like that embarrassed the Washington team, and the team continues to embarrass itself. I mean, Gruden said he's the best quarterback, referring to Cousins, on our roster at this time. He's earned the right to be our starter for 2015. That's as definitive as it gets. That's his guy.
Yeah.
So it's over for RG3 in Washington.
I don't know. It could be over for Jay Gruden. I as long as Daniel Snyder's around, I can't definitively say it's over for anyone in Washington. That team is such a mess.
Out of these 3 men, who has treated RG3 the best? Dan Snyder, Mike Shanahan, Jay Gruden.
Dan Snyder has babied him. Mike Shanahan
ran him into the ground,
and Jay Gruden has disrespected him.
All 3 men have not done him any favors.
No one's done RG3 any favors in Washington. Not saying that he necessarily needed to have favors done for him or that he would even have panned out, but it's not a situation that has put him in a position to be successful.
But they were bringing him back in playoff games when he was clearly hobbled. They were trying to squeeze every bit of juice out of Robert Griffin III in his first and second seasons. His
first season, right? His knees sprained and it winds up blowing up mid-game.
I'm at the Parish Public House watching this playoff game, I think, with correspondent Andrew Malkowski, and we're watching RG3 hobble around, and eventually it just blows, and there goes the tire, and that's it. You can't have injuries and re-injuries like that on a valuable franchise player.
Right after that game, the stories that were swirling is it's RG3's choice. No, it's Shanahan's choice. No, RG3 insisted on playing, or Shanahan was proving a point. You can't say.
Well, there's also a story about Shanahan says, well, Dr. James Andrews is on the sideline. He said he was good to go.
Celebrity Dr. James Andrews.
Dr. James Andrews said no one even talked to me. They ran away from me.
Mm-hmm.
They kept Robert away from me so that I couldn't, diagnose him or keep him out of the game. So there's a bit of deception going on there with Mike Shanahan, and that's part of the reason he's no longer a coach of the Washington professional football team. But they might need a new coach.
Hey, you can call him what you want.
And they call it an embarrassing franchise. It's the second most valuable franchise in the NFL.
It'll
after
always
the
be
Dallas
valuable.
Cowboys. But so they're not really an embarrassment except for their play on the field.
The Knicks are an embarrassment to the NBA, and they're the second most valuable franchise. You can be both.
So the Redskins are the Knicks of the NFL.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
That's exactly
They've won
what's
more
happening
titles,
right
though.
now.
They've won a couple more titles.
Well, they've won how many? 3?
I think 3.
To the Knicks 1 or 2?
2. Knicks 70 and 73.
Yeah, so it's...
Okay, it's comparable.
It's very comparable.
I can see. I like this Knicks-Redskins thing. So we're going to go with that. We're actually going to transition into basketball right now because you have something about Dwight Howard.
Yeah, Dwight Howard was trying to fly out of Houston when... in a carry-on bag, they found a loaded handgun with a round in the chamber.
Oh, of course. Now, it's Texas to
Yes.
start with. There's no state taxes, which is awesome.
Yes.
And there's a I
open
want to call it
carry
cash
law.
and carry because I'm a World War II obsessive. But you can carry weapons in Texas. This is the 77th time a person has been detained this year at one of Houston's airports. The 77th time for having a gun in a carry-on bag. So
And-
is this reckless behavior or is this just par for the course?
I mean, it doesn't shine well for Dwight, and how the NBA will take it is yet to be seen. But he was allowed to keep the gun. Well, they removed the gun from his bag. He had to go reverse through security, and then he was allowed to give the gun to a friend to take home while he went back through security.
Why does Dwight Howard need a gun? That's always a question I ask. I know a lot of people say professional athletes are targets. They're famous people. They're very tall, especially basketball players. They can be targets for people to mess with them. So having a gun is a useful tool. Why does Dwight Howard need a gun? Do you buy into that?
I buy into maybe he likes target shooting, but I don't understand why you would have it in a carry-on bag.
Yeah, I don't know where he was going. I don't know where he ended up, but going through that airport, he definitely had a weapon on him. It reminded me of like the Barry Switzer story, the coach of the Cowboys from the 90s, who he was a little bit more of a dummy than Dwight Howard seems to be. But why would Dwight Howard has such like a saccharine reputation? He's the smiley guy on the court. He's the one that plays with the kids and blocks their shots, and he just seems like an overall fun-loving guy. Why would you want to tarnish your image by carrying a gun through an airport?
I have no idea. Maybe he just likes taking a gun to the gym with him. Maybe he carries at all times. Maybe that's how he was raised. It could be part of like his family upbringing.
I just thought it was very strange.
Baffling. It's baffling to me.
All right, well, moving on from that, we're going to talk about Los Angeles' Olympic bid. Now, Boston pulled out as the U.S. representative for the 2024 Olympic bid. L.A. has thrown its hat in the ring, and we've talked about this on the show before. L.A. is the perfect city because it's so sprawling, it's so massive, it has lots of different sports facilities. Do you think they have a viable chance of getting there? They're competing with a few European cities, but there isn't that much stiff competition.
I think they have a better chance of getting this than any of the bids that have went to non-European or American cities. I think that the Olympic Committee was really focused on getting the games into South America, and they really wanted the games in Southeast Asia. But now that both of those, now that that's occurred, I don't think they're as gung-ho about necessarily getting it to Europe or to the U.S. So I think the U.S. representative has a better shot this time than it did for either the Rio Games or for the Beijing Games.
Well, because right now the cities are Rome and Paris, which have each hosted before at least a couple of times, Hamburg and Budapest, which I believe would be first-time hosts. Germany hasn't hosted in quite some time. The expected cost of this is they're asking for $6 billion, $1 billion of it just to build the Olympic Village. Is that a lot of money? Do you think it'll cost more than that? Is that a viable option?
I think that because LA has so many existing facilities and a lot of that budget is just going to go towards renovation, that they could actually potentially stay within budget, unlike, say, Rio or Beijing.
Well, Rio can't even stay in clean water, so...
Yeah, that's a mess.
That's
Rio
a
can't
joke to
even
itself.
keep its air conditions good enough for people to run marathons.
So this is 9 years from now. Would you consider yourself going to this for sure? Would you head down there?
Olympic basketball that close?
That's a good point.
It's right there.
The guys playing in that game are probably not even they're probably just getting into high school right now, so we don't even know.
Yeah, but it should be amazing. And also, by that time, you would think that the world maybe wouldn't have caught up quite to the U.S., but the competition would be stiffer across the board.
At least for basketball.
Yes.
Do you think the bullet train will be done by then? When's that scheduled to be
That's the
done?
real thing for me. Is like, is the bullet train going to be ready? Can you just hop on the bullet train? 3 hours later, you're in LA.
3 hours to LA. I'd spend so much more time in LA, and I hate LA. But 3 hours, I would spend so much more time there.
I'd be willing to get on the bullet train just to eat at the right restaurant, or like spend the day in Little Tokyo or something.
I may go to San Diego for the first time. I still haven't been to San Diego. It's too far.
It's really far.
I haven't been to Mexico. It's way too far.
All of that opens up with the bullet train. But when it comes to the Olympics, I think that LA is a great option, because the last time the U.S. hosted was 1996 in Atlanta.
96 in Atlanta. LA hosted in 84.
Yes.
Which is one of the most successful games that apparently went off without a hitch. Atlanta, not so much because of
the Olympic Plaza bombing.
Yeah, that was no good. Though the U.S. did win the women's gymnastics all around, which I'm always a fan of when they win that, because that's the most, I think, exciting event in the Olympics in summer.
That's fair. Also, the 1996 U.S. men's basketball team was nothing to scoff at. Maybe even as good as the Dream Team, considering that Magic and Bird were both past their primes.
But it wasn't as fun.
I mean, of course not.
Even the Dream Team wasn't that fun.
Well, the Dream Team was a blast just because of them traveling around the streets of Barcelona.
And Christian Laettner was on the team.
Yeah, and Charles Barkley.
Is that the second one? That's the one.
That's
right?
the first one. The first one was in Barcelona with Laettner and Barkley being out till 3 a.m. before games and just bossing every game.
I hate Christian Laettner.
Really?
Not really.
Do you just hate Duke?
No, I don't hate
Duke. Are you a Duke
I'm not
hater?
one of the Duke haters. I'm not going to get on board with that. I love Coach K. They've had some hateable players over the year. You know, J.J. Redick in college was an easy guy to hate because he hit a bunch of shots you felt like he didn't deserve. He was good-looking and talented and super-duper white.
I hated Shane Battier in college.
Yeah, and he's one of the greatest players that we've ever seen on both sides of the ball.
I hated his ugly interior game that you knew wasn't going to translate to the NBA. I just really don't like watching college players who have a lot of success and you know their game isn't going to translate to the next level.
Well, someone like Sean May at North Carolina, where he played some ugly inside basketball, but got a bunch of buckets because he was just a powerful
or
force.
Psycho T. Everyone
Psycho T.
going crazy over how great Tyler Hansbrough is, and he's like a backup big at best, like a rotation.
He's been
big.
in the league for 7-8 years now, though.
Yeah, but he's not going to be a star player. Guys like him or Mark Madsen.
I always admired his ability to finish through contact in college. But once in the pros, he couldn't even finish through Ron Artest's scowl. It was that famous gif. We should actually post that in the show notes of him being real upset about a hard foul or a shove, and he turns around. It's Ron Artest. He goes, "Oh no, man!
Oh my bad.
We're cool."
I'm sorry, Mr. World Peace.
Mr. Panda Friend.
Mr. Panda's friend.
One other thing about the LA bid they brought up is that, you know, they're going to do the beach volleyball on the site where beach volleyball was founded. And I think that's pretty cool, because beach volleyball is something America's really good at, because it turns out we invented it. Wonderful. So I think it's Malibu where it was invented. They're actually going to plan on putting it right there where it was created. And I think that's a pretty cool storyline to have.
I think that's great.
Let's rip through one more story. Actually, we have our next segment up, so we're going to do a little sponsorship break here. We're going to give some love to local artist Ken Keegan, proud to be sponsored by this guy. Ken is a huge fan of baseball, specifically his formerly down and out, now playoff-bound New York Mets. He's a rubbish baseball player, but a very talented artist. You can find his art for viewing and for sale on artwanted.com. Just search his name, Ken Keegan, Kenkeegan, on artwanted.com. You can see dozens of his works. You can make prints, you can make t-shirts, you can make coffee mugs. My favorite of his works is Quiet Moon, a serene painting with a beautiful use of blue and green. That's artwanted.com. Search Ken Keegan, Kenkeegan. We have a very special guest today. I'm really excited. He actually co-hosted, I think, episode 4, maybe episode 5 of this show. His name is Chad King. He runs TortureCast, which is a fantastic Giants podcast that follows all things San Francisco Giants. But he's going to come on and talk to us about baseball today. How are you doing, Chad?
Hey, pretty good, Thomas. How about yourself?
Not too bad. How's things down south in the South Bay?
Man, we just got out of that heat wave, so I'm thanking the cool air that is coming in.
So excited about that. So we're in the middle of the third of 3 games between the Giants and the Dodgers, and the Dodgers it might sweep. That's what it's looking like. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's 1-0 in the middle of the game right now.
1-0 middle of the game. Okay, so if the Dodgers sweep, is it over? Should we just go home?
You know, I'm going to be the eternal optimist, even though it is an odd year. And just go ahead and I basically talked myself off the ledge earlier this evening, and I don't have it in front of me, but I was researching the biggest collapses in Major League Baseball history. And there are quite a few out there. Granted, it's a minority. It's a very small percentage when you consider all the years of baseball. But there's been quite a few, even in the wild card era. And so I'm just going to go ahead and hope that the top 17 collapses in Major League history, 3 of them have been by the Dodgers to the Giants.
Yeah, 1951.
So maybe they'll go ahead and... Yeah, that was the first one with Bobby Thompson. Exactly. They forced the one-game playoff, and he delivered. But there was also in the 70s, and of course we have the Padres collapse in 2010, which allowed the Giants to sneak in. We had the 95 Angels with the Mariners caught them. They had 11-game lead in August. There's quite a few instances, even with teams having 3-game leads with 4 games to play and losing. So 6.5 is bad if they lose tonight. There's no doubt about it. But there's 29 to play. So the one thing that is unfortunate is that the Giants no longer control their destiny, meaning they have 4 games left with the Dodgers. And so if they're 6.5 back, or even if they won tonight and are 4.5 back, they have to rely on help. They need help with the Dodgers, having some sort of losing streak. The good news, there's really not a whole lot of good news to look at, I know, but one of the bits of silver lining is that the Giants have the easier schedule, at least on paper, going into September. They have an easier record. So that, of course, precludes going into Colorado for 4, which can always be tough. But you never know. Things can happen. This team, as we know, is an extremely streaky team, the streakiest team that I can even remember in recent memory. They'll go off and, rip off 15 wins in 17 games, and they'll lose 8 in a row, or 10 out of 13. I think right now, if they lose tonight, that'll be 12 out of 14 games on the road.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and that's not going to do it. So I'm just kind of relying on maybe the Dodgers tanking and the Giants going on one of those epic streaks. But it's going to really determine what's going to determine that is, of course, some of the guys that they've been missing.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So you talk about these hot streaks where they win 12 of 14 or 15 of 18. That was with healthy teams. That was with Hunter Pence, Joe Panik, Brandon Crawford. That's with all those guys not only being in the lineup, producing on offense, producing on defense. Right now, the defense looks awful. Kelby Tomlinson is half as good as Joe Panik. A-Ray Adrianza maybe 80% as good as Brandon Crawford, but negative 30% as good at the plate. And Marlon Byrd is doing his best Hunter Pence impression at the plate, but he's not Pence at the plate, and he's definitely not Pence in the field. All of those spots are now much, much weaker.
No, they're absolutely weaker right now. The Giants have just been decimated this year by injuries, and I don't think most Giants fans want to make that excuse because you look at the other team in the Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, and they've been hit just as hard, maybe even harder with all of their injuries, including their Cy Young Award winner going down, and yet they have the best record in baseball. And so they seem to be coping with it just fine.
Yeah, but we have a well-run franchise, but they have the best-run franchise. They have the most depth.
I think so. I think that's what it kind of comes down to is just depth. We have a good starting 9, but not a very good bench and not very good depth in the minor leagues right now. And we do have surprises, like your Joe Panics and what have you, but that depth is absolutely failing them right now, just with those people that you just mentioned, and desperately making trades for Marlon Byrd and Diaz, and everything like that. So, I mean, it's almost like, the kid who just kind of lost half of his Halloween candy, and he's just grasping for the chocolate malt balls and the candy, the horrific candy that I just absolutely did not like as a child. But they're just taking anything they can get right now.
They're actually eating the pennies right now.
Yes, razor-bladed apples. Oh. I mean, anything they can get their hands on.
You're a parent, but you're also a creeper, Chad.
Yeah.
All right, well, I want to talk about somebody named Jake Arrieta because not only is he helping the Giants by no-hitting the Dodgers, he's also been one of the best pitchers in the National League this year. And during our All-Star break show, I talked about how Arrieta should definitely be an All-Star because he's had a really good year-and-a-half run in the big leagues. What did he show you the other night against the Dodgers? He's not quite on the Greinke Kershaw level, but he's a guy to watch for sure.
He's absolutely a guy to watch. I mean, he certainly wasn't this good with the Orioles. I mean, he's come into his own with the Cubs, and I don't know if it's just maturity, pitching coach, Joe Madden's giving him, pajamas to wear, after the game. I don't know what it is.
All the magic shows, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All the magic shows, all the stuff that he does to kind of pump up his team. By the way, I really like the guy, Joe Madden. He's a pretty awesome manager.
He could coach my team any day. I like Bochy Grumbles, but I think Joe Madden is a fantastic baseball coach.
Exactly. I think it's possible he could be the next Bochy in the sense of over the next 5 or 6 years. I think the Cubs, things are looking up for them. So you never know what's going to happen with them.
You're
But
predicting multiple titles for Joe Madden. That's awesome.
I'm not predicting it because it has been since 1908. But just the vibe of the team and everything like that, aside from the goat and the curse and everything like that. Arrieta has been unbelievable. He's just been changing speeds. He's pitching with command. He's not walking too many. Yeah, there was that questionable call on the hit.
Yeah, talk about that. Talk about that. What was your opinion on that? Because I have one.
Yeah, I mean, that was early in the game, obviously. It was the third inning. I think this is the question I ask myself. If you're the official scorer and it's the 8th inning or the 9th inning, God forbid, and that ball is hit, I mean, you got to give him an error. But given the context of the game and how early it was, and then this is the subjective nature of baseball, of course, that was a really hard hit ball. So one side of the coin argues that this is the highest level of baseball. If any player should be able to field that ball, it's that guy. So you should give him an error because it was technically fieldable.
Well, and Castro's a shortstop playing second base, too. He's supposed to have, smoked balls at him all the time.
Yes, exactly. So for me, I would have scored it an error, but not by much. I would have been sitting there thinking about it going, oh, man, minor leaguer, that's a hit. Major leaguer, that's an error. So I have no problem with it, and we have so many controversial calls and plays with strike calls or non-ball 4 calls in perfect games and things like that over the history of baseball. There's always an initial controversy for about 3 or 4 days, maybe a week at the most, right? And then it goes away and no one even remembers it. So this will be the same thing. It'll be, obviously Cubs fans have forgotten about it. The Cubs themselves have forgotten about it. And by next year, I think the Dodgers will have forgotten about it.
You're right. And they did the classy thing by sending him the mound and the pitching rubber and everything. But you're right. The box score is just going to be the box score from now on, and that's what people are going to see. And he's going to be on the list of the many, many no-hitters of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I think the only ones you can really look back on in terms of no-hitters are perfect games where it kind of still stings with the controversy. And, of course, I've already forgotten the names, is the Tigers' perfect game.
Armando Galarraga.
Was that Jim Joyce? Who was it?
Jim Joyce, yep, Armando Galarraga.
That was Jim Joyce. Mm-hmm. Thank you for Galarraga. That was the name I blanked out on. But that was one of those ones where that was out of the hands of the players, and just an egregious call.
Well, and replay would have fixed that. If he did it this year, it would have been a perfect game.
That's a really good point. Could you imagine, because that would have been the last out of the game and sealed the perfect game, if they would have had to go to replay and everybody's standing there and they take up the headphones out and then they celebrate. Mm-hmm. A little anticlimactic, but it's still, I'm sure Galarraga would have taken it.
It would have perfectly vindicated replay. Some people are still stuck on not liking it, but that would have been the perfect vindication of instant replay in baseball.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get the automated strike zone in 20 years.
Oh, man, let's not talk about those strike zones from last week.
Yeah, we won't do that.
All right, so I need a pick from you because last week we had our friend Daniel Zarchi on the show, and we talked about the AL wild card because the second spot is still up for grabs, and it's a dumpster fire right now of teams, and that's why it's so much fun to try and pick a crappy team to win. I had the Rangers last week. Danny picked the Orioles, so he's pretty much out. Who do you see rising? I don't say rising to the top, rising to the middle to make the playoffs in the AL?
I kind of agree with you. I think the Rangers have just been hot lately, and I think they have the right mix of guys, and their injuries aren't too deep right now. There's a lot of baseball left. We don't know. Like you said, it's a dumpster fire. There's so many teams in the mix. Do you remember it was 2011? It came down to the last day of the season. There was something like 4 or 5 teams in there, and we had to wait for the morning game and the afternoon game and the night game, and it was pure insanity. It was one of the best days of baseball I can remember.
Was that the Dan Johnson Tampa Bay Rays home run?
Yeah, I believe so.
That was amazing because I knew Dan Johnson in the early 2000s. He was a Modesto A back when I used to work for the team. And it was just so funny, almost 9 or 10 years later, to have him make such a dramatic impact in a game when he was pretty much a fringe player. He was the definition of a quad A guy who'd go up and down from AAA to the majors. To see him make that hit was awesome for me, just to had known him a decade earlier.
Yeah, it's funny, those guys like that, your Ishikawas and your Brian Johnsons and others like that just seem to make an impact at the right time.
Yeah. All right, Chad, well, thanks for coming on today. We're going to let you go. We're going to have you back on real soon, talk some October baseball, and maybe we'll even have you co-host the show one of these weeks. That was fun.
All right, thanks a lot, man.
All right, Chad, have a good one. All right, time to jump to our other sponsor today. That is 99 Bottles. On Walnut Street between Pacific Avenue and Cedar Street, 99 Bottles is the prime spot in downtown Santa Cruz for dining and entertainment, with drink selections from domestic to hard-to-find beers to a full bar that's literally over 100 choices to work your way through down there. While drinks are in the name, the food also speaks for itself. 99 has a great selection of pub food, including a delicious chicken Philly that I enjoy. Order with a side of waffle fries, please. Also a must is Trivia Night at 99 with Marisa Gomez, held every Wednesday night right now at 8 p.m. Those who know me know I love trivia. I am trivia. I breathe trivia, and Marisa puts on a good show. And finally, for sports fans, 99 has TVs behind the bar and upstairs. They'll show your local favorite teams. They watch the NBA Finals there. They're watching the Giants right now. Nobody's watching the A's, but they'll put them on if you want. You can also go upstairs on the big TV and watch a beautiful soccer match, which Joaquin can tell me how it's scored later. I still don't know the scoring in soccer.
You count.
You count. But sometimes you don't count anything.
Usually the score is the sum of the points.
The sum of the points. Well, how do you score points, though?
You put the ball in the back of the net.
The back of the net. Oh.
It can hit the side first.
Oh, can
usually,
it?
Yeah.
Do you get more points for that?
No.
Ricochet?
It's kind of like one at a time.
So how many points do you get for picking up the ball and running it into the net?
Depends on if the referee is looking or not.
And if you're Diego Maradona or not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's 99 Bottles. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Let's get to the heart of the show, where we just bust through some topics. We're going to do one baseball topic, because I know Joaquin hates baseball, and we're going to be done with that part of our show.
I just don't have time.
You just wrote a whole novel of notes while I was talking to Chad.
Yeah.
I'm going to read those later. Okay, so Cal Ripken has the record for most consecutive games played. It's the 20th anniversary coming up. They just celebrated it a little early at Camden Yards because of how the schedule worked out. He thinks his record can be broken. Is there any way in HE double hockey stick someone breaks that record?
I think this is a liberal use of the word can. It's like, may I, can I? Will it be broken? No. Could it be broken? Of course it could be broken.
So I've got some numbers to throw at you. First of all, Cal says no one in particular. Derek Jeter might have been the next incarnation of Cal Ripken as far as skill set and position and impact on the game. He couldn't do this.
Well, not quite as much pop, right?
Yeah, he didn't have as much pop, but I just mean like being a face of a team and being there for 20 years or 18 years, however long Derek Jeter was there. So I'm looking at the numbers, and the current record for consecutive games played by a current player is fellow Oriole Manny Machado, 132 games.
132.
I did the math. If he played every single game from here on out, Manny Machado would break Cal Ripken's record in early 2032.
Yeah.
Our children will be having children by then, Joaquin.
Yeah, no, this record's going to stand. I mean, of course, everyone thought Lou Gehrig's record for consecutive games played was going to stand. And Cal Ripken, to his credit, didn't even do the one at bat, like pinch hit to continue playing.
He had some games where he played a couple innings and then got subbed out.
Yeah, but he never just came in for a pinch hit in the ninth.
Right. Jason Giambi did that, but that was only because his skills had eroded to maybe he'll hit a home run at some point in this at-bat. But no, I just don't see it. The way the game is played today, the way the DL is used with roster space, and managers are always trying to maximize their rosters and not allow injured players to play.
The way managers manage, and also the way organizations are getting smarter about rest and about maintaining their players in a way where their players can perform at their best in high leverage situations, is just going to prevent someone from trying to break this record.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
I don't think there's anyone who's going to come into the major leagues saying, what record I'm breaking? Cal Ripken.
Well, there's a lot of unbreakable records. I mean, 56-game hitting streaks probably not going to be done.
But at least we see 30-game hit streaks every so often.
That's true, and it is fun to at least project throughout a season. Oh, hey, maybe someone's getting close. This one takes
400
so long
for a
to
season.
get close. We have to wait 17 years to see if Manny Machado will do this. He'll miss a game by the end of this season or early next season, so the clock will just restart.
Easily.
All right, so Cal, good thinking. You're going to hold this record.
I'm glad he holds the current baseball players in such high esteem.
Okay, we're going to rip through some basketball, which is going to excite you and depress you at the same time, because there's not a lot of good basketball things happening right now. How much can we talk about this Derrick Rose thing? Because there's not a lot of facts yet. There's just a lot of...
The facts we know are that the person who's bringing the civil suit against Derrick Rose is now on their third lawyer before someone would try to take it to court.
But
we know that.
The accusations are horrific.
The accusations are monstrous.
This story being told by this young woman that dated Derrick Rose for 2 years, but was not currently in a relationship when this incident occurred, about being at his house with his friends and a friend of hers, being drugged, being taken home, being followed to her house, and then the rest you can just read about online. It's not really worth talking about on public radio or on any form of radio. But it's a horrific tale.
Yes.
There are other people of her friends involved that no one is getting named. The victim herself is not getting named in any of this. He's got an uphill battle to climb to try to shoot this down, because if she gets any factual evidence for this whatsoever, he might be toast.
Yeah.
Him and his buddies.
Although it's not a criminal case.
Losing millions of dollars is toast.
Oh, of course.
And, losing your ads and losing your
right now
endorsements.
Derrick Rose is one of the top 10 earners in terms of endorsements a year at around $13 million.
He's already had problems holding on to them because of his injuries and his, by his standards, subpar level of play and inability to stay on the floor. It would completely wipe him out. This is Tiger Woods times 10. I mean, he doesn't have the profile that Tiger does, but those endorsements will fly out the window. They'll be gone.
In terms of effect on career, for sure.
And they'll never come back.
Yeah.
So he might even lose his spot in Chicago because he's not playing well enough to overcome stuff like that.
It's really hard to speculate about how this will play out, and it's hard to even begin to figure out what to think.
If that's a fake story that I read, that's a really good piece of fiction. That's all I can say.
Yeah, the details are heart-wrenching.
Grisly.
Yes.
We'll move on. This is a happier and a sadder story at the same time. NBA legend and cult hero Darryl Dawkins has passed away. I appreciate Darryl Dawkins so much. He was not a figure of the game like Shaq or Kobe or Michael Jordan. He didn't have that kind of impact. He didn't win any championships.
No, he won one. He won with the Pistons in '89, not like in his prime.
Okay.
But
all right, as a rotation player.
Yeah.
Okay. But he didn't lead his team to any championships. No. But that man could dunk.
Oh, he could throw the ball down. Oh. He had uncountable nicknames for all of his dunks. He would tell the announcers before games. He's like, "Are you ready for seeing the?" And then just
he was the Zoolander.
Yeah.
He's the Derek Zoolander of basketball.
But at least the dunks are different.
Yeah. I bet a lot of them were two-hand overhead jams.
Yeah, but sometimes there were reverses. Sometimes he would do a spin move first, but mostly two-handed overhead jams.
So his legacy, he scored 14 points per game for a season. I think that was his high, but he was more about the dunk. He was actually the inspiration for guys like, DeAndre Jordan, guys who roll to the basket and just bring the thunder. So he got
Darryl
his nickname,
Chocolate Thunder Dawkins.
Chocolate Thunder. Do you know who gave him that nickname?
No, who is that?
Stevie Wonder.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it is wonderful. It's also superstitious.
And
lovely. The story, which may be apocryphal, is Stevie Wonder is sitting at a practice or at a game that Darryl Dawkins is playing, and there's a guy accompanying Stevie Wonder who's got his arm, and he's describing the action on the court to him. And he keeps saying that, the chocolatey guy did this thunderous dunk, and then the chocolatey guy does this thunderous dunk, and then so Stevie Wonder just started calling him Chocolate Thunder.
That's great. It's one of the all-time great NBA nicknames. Do you have personal favorites? I wrote down a few of mine.
Man, I mean, his airness is so good and so $200 billion-y. That's a great one. You have a couple. I want to hear some of yours.
Magic
Johnson, okay.
Pistol
Pete Maravich, okay.
I mean, for me, just a personal favorite, Boom Dizzle.
Who's that?
Baron Davis.
Oh.
It was just so appropriate for the mid-2000s Bay Area and like hyphy rap and how all of that was happening. That
Curry, the baby-faced assassin.
That's pretty good. I like players with multiple nicknames. You get Air Canada / Half-Man / Amazing / Vinsanity.
Oh, okay, Vince Carter.
Yeah,
all right.
There's just so many good ones. The Worm.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
He was a worm. That's the best part.
I love Avery Johnson being the Little General, just to go along with the Admiral.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Did Tim Duncan ever get a nickname? The Big Fundamental?
The Big Fundamental.
That's a good one, because that sums up his game in 3 words, which I really like.
Then you get your group nicknames, your Run TMC.
The Bad Boy Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
Hakeem the Dream was always good. The Dream Shake, one of the better moves.
Mount Mutombo.
I never heard that one.
Okay, but I would
you don't need a nickname when your name's Dikembe Mutombo.
We forgot a couple of classics. Dr. J.
Okay.
The answer.
And Dr. J is actually a good one because he and Dawkins, just when we talk about dunking, Dr. J made it look smooth and cool and flawless, and Dawkins made it look like it hurt.
Yeah, Dr. J and Dawkins were the pioneers of great in-game dunking, and they were followed by Jordan and Dominique, and then they sort of passed the torch to Sean, the Rain Man Kemp.
And then he passed it on to Vince Carter, who is one of the better in-game and out-of-game dunkers that I've ever seen.
Underrated in-game dunker? Kobe Bryant.
Oh, yeah, no, Kobe got up.
Yeah,
early in his career.
lots of spin moves, lots of
he
reverses.
Loved reverse jams. Yeah. No, I'm super into Kobe as a dunker, and I'm really looking forward to what Zach LaVine can do in the rest of his career.
Yeah, just the privilege of watching Zach LaVine dunk for the next 10 years.
He was hitting those dunks going up. He wasn't even coming down yet, and he was hitting crazy dunks.
It's wonderful. Like, you see the style of him doing something amazingly acrobatic before dunking, and then still rising till he's looking eye level at the rim. It's amazing.
I'm like getting butterflies right now just talking about it. I loved watching Zach LaVine so much, and he's got so much potential. I hope he gets a jump shot so he can stay in the league so he can keep dunking.
I'm just gonna say, as much as this news saddened me, I'm grateful for the YouTube rabbit hole it sent me down.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching Darryl Dawkins top 10s and Sean Kemp dunk highlight reels.
What do you think Darryl Dawkins would want more than a bunch of people under 30 watching YouTube clips of him? Imagine what he would have done in the Vine era, the YouTube and Instagram era, and he was all about his dunks. You know?
And then other great in-game power dunkers like Kemp and Barkley.
What do we say? Daryl Griffith is Dr. Duncanstein. That's a great nickname.
George Gervin as the Iceman.
Trivia question. Darryl Dawkins, what planet did he say he was from?
I do not know.
Lovetron. I think producer Tory knows that one. Lovetron. Which, is a good planet to be from. I think Wilt Chamberlain also from that planet.
It's very funkadelic.
All right.
Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain.
Wilt the Stilt. R.I.P. Darryl Dawkins. We will miss your dunks even though you haven't hit one in probably 25, 30 years. So it is. DeAndre Jordan. We just brought him up because he's in the same vein as Darryl Dawkins. He has left his agent. Now, he had famously on this show and famously in general had some crazy offseason where his team lost $200,000 because of weird endorsement privileges that he wasn't supposed to get. He committed to the Mavericks, decommitted, signed with the Clippers. Now, is he just trying to start over by getting a new management team, by firing Dan Fagan?
Yeah, I think DeAndre's summer could almost accurately be called the Dwight Mayer 2.0.
Because you can't fire yourself.
Right. And so you're your own PR team, but you can scapegoat your agent.
So that's what he's doing. And, I mean, agents are dime a dozen in the NBA. They're everywhere.
And Dan Fagan still gets his cut of this contract.
Okay. I mean, that's good.
Because it's already been signed.
Okay, that's good for Dan Fagan. And I was worried about that because that's not fair. What he just put his agent through is ridiculous.
Right.
He was the unhappy child. He basically acted like an unhappy child.
But was Fagan the one pushing him to the Mavericks?
It doesn't matter. Your agent's always going to push you towards more money. Your agent's always going to push you towards somewhere where they think they can save you money or make you more money. They're not looking out for your basketball interests. I mean, he might on some level be thinking, oh, he'll get more play at the Mavericks, so he'll do more of this or this. Why would he want him to leave L.A.? Unless it was for more money.
Well, it's because the Clippers will always play second fiddle to the Lakers. Did you see just recently it came out that...
And the Mavs play second fiddle to the Spurs.
But not for the whole state. It's just that... And Dallas-Fort Worth is such a bigger media market than San Antonio. But just when it comes to local TV ratings, the Lakers were still getting twice the ratings that the Clippers were this past season, while the Lakers stunk.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a long time to undo that. And unfortunately, by the time the Clippers do that, the Lakers might be good again.
Exactly.
You never know how that's going to go.
But I think firing Fagan, it's neither here nor there for DeAndre. The best part of all of this for DeAndre is that he'll be able to get past all these PR problems because he stayed with the same team. Unlike someone like Dwight who went with 3 teams in 3 years.
Well, and he's got people protecting him. Doc Rivers is one of the most powerful NBA coaches, and I guess he's a GM too. One of the most powerful NBA personalities.
Also, he's one of the best at working the media in terms of pumping up his own players. He's the one saying, DeAndre, big three, and just promoting DeAndre no questions asked all year.
Every person in the NBA media loves Doc Rivers except Bill Simmons, but that's a story for another
Didn't
day.
they bury the hatchet?
And then they took it out and reburied it and took it out, and at this point it's
it sounds
a bloody
graphic.
mess.
It sounds more like a Wes Craven movie. RIP than anything else.
Let's blow through some NFL stories before we get producer Tory on. The Texans owner Bob McNair said J.J. Watt, if he were accused of anything, would never have destroyed his cell phone.
Well, he's Captain America, so of course he wouldn't.
Is that neither here nor there, or is that a big shot at Tom Brady, Bill Belichick? What is that? What does that mean?
It's more pumping up your local fan base, saying we're not like those East Coast elitists.
Yeah, but it's like you're not even in the same division.
It doesn't
You've never
matter.
played the Patriots in the playoffs. Like,
I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs.
if J.J.
really
Watt broke
matter.
his cell phone, it's probably because his massive hand crushed it by accident.
Yeah, J.J. Watt would never intentionally crush his cell phone, just accidentally when taking it out of his pocket. Or pressing the screen would crack it in half.
Some local flavor. Oakland Raiders cut Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson was drafted 3rd overall.
3rd overall.
3rd.
I have some things. I have a list of things wasted on Trent 2.0, which is another great nickname. Trent 2.0, Trent 3.0. The number 3 overall pick in the 2012 draft by the Cleveland Browns. They waste a lot of draft picks. That's fine.
Well, they almost got it back.
The Colts sent the number 26 pick in the 2014 NFL draft to acquire Trent Richardson. Could not get any play on that team. Then the Raiders wasted $600,000 in guaranteed money on him this offseason. Money they would love to have right now because he will not play for them. And I doubt at this point he'll play for anyone in a non-preseason game ever again.
It's just a testament to how good the Alabama offensive line has been over the years.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these guys aren't
just getting running backs money.
Yeah, absolutely. But you have to realize at some point that you just can't draft Alabama running backs. They're not going to do anything. So I think that's a sad story for Trent Richardson. I always pulled for him because you feel bad for anyone who goes to the Browns with any high draft pick because they always flame out.
Yeah, but I felt it was fun to root for the Browns to have made the right decision after they traded him for a first-round pick a year later.
Ryan Grigson needs to go in Indianapolis. He's going to waste this whole Andrew Luck era.
That was a great move by the Browns. I loved that.
Okay, well, that's it for today. We're going to talk about Concussion with Will Smith on another show because I want to talk about that movie that the trailer just came out for. But we're going to go to another sponsorship break. Thanks again to Ken Keegan, the local artist with a passion for sports. Find all of his art for sale on artwanted.com by searching his name, Ken Keegan. That's Keegan. We're going to have Ken on the show sometime soon. As soon as the Mets clinch the playoffs, we will talk to him. He'll be excited. Sorry, Ken, I can't root for them quite yet. The Giants have not been eliminated. Once again, that's Ken Keegan on artwanted.com. His paintings are Room with a View, 2 a.m., The Strawberry Farmer, all wonderful works. Okay, it's time to close out our show with our favorite segment, which is Tory Topics, where producer Tory comes on and makes us laugh and embarrasses us with weird stories. Tory, how you doing?
I'm good. I've just been working on my interplanetary funksmanship.
Yeah, well, you're what? Lovetron. Okay, sorry. I got confused there for a second.
It's what he used to do in the off-season, work on his interplanetary funksmanship.
Oh, actually, before we get to any funkmanship or Planet Lovetron, we're going to have a fun segment coming up on our show. It's going to be an NFL Picks segment with the three of us and our late deceased friend who could not be on our show tonight, Daniel Zarchi. We're going to be picking some NFL games. We're going to pick 3. We're going to pick the Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night games. Then we're going to pick some wild card games as the games get closer over the weekend. What do you guys think for a grand prize? What should we do? We all have lots of money to spend.
We need to come up with some sort of bet.
Something embarrassing.
Maybe we should get something.
One of us should have to sing on the show.
Or maybe we should have to try to eat a whole large Woodstock's dessert pizza.
14 chocolate lava cakes.
Oh, that sounds like it hurts. That sounds like it's molten in my belly.
Mm-hmm.
That actually sounds pretty nice.
Guy I know did that for a charity event.
Charity, yes. We'll do this
for the kids.
Charity. For your health.
Yeah, coach's decision is for the children.
That's my normal Saturday night.
All right, so look forward to the NFL pick segment. I think I'm going to win this season, mostly because I had to explain to producer Tory what point spreads were this morning.
Thanks for calling me out like that.
Hey, no problem. Hey, you're going to win. Beginner's luck.
And maybe we'll also add Tory's Lock of the Week.
Ooh, that's a good one.
JJ Watt every
Watt
week.
Of the week.
The Watt of the Week.
It's always
just
JJ Watt.
Different JJ Watt. Yes.
It'll be James Watt, I think, was the scientist. He might sneak in once, but JJ Watt, like 13 out of 14 weeks.
Exactly.
Okay, Tory, give us a topic.
All right, so I said that this was going to be my first topic. Shaq will be on a Korean TV show where celebrities become high school students for a week.
I don't understand. It's like Never Been Kissed?
It's more like a reality show. Shaq's going to go and, like, hang out at a Korean high school for a week. It's really cute.
Are they going to make him a Shaq-sized desk?
They already gave him a Shaq-sized school uniform.
Oh. What's the uniform?
It's
Easy
like
Thomas.
Oh, come on. He's not having any Korean schoolgirl fantasies.
About
I don't know.
Shaq.
About Shaq. I did see the YouTube clip that you posted, and it was very strange, and I didn't understand it at all. There's a bunch of scribbly letters all over the screen. What did those mean?
That's Korean.
That's Korean. Okay. Man, I need to eat more ethnic food. So what's the result of this? Just a very large man, a bunch of very small people? Does he take classes? Is he like...
Yeah, he's going to be like in classes doing things.
Shaqtin' a fool?
Korea really
Always.
likes doing cutesy reality shows with their celebrities. They also have one called Running Man where they get a bunch of pop stars together and they do like Survivor Man type and challenges and like athletic feats.
Okay, so who are the others? Is Rain making an appearance? I know he's like the biggest.
You mean
K-pop
Jung Ji-hoon?
celebrity. Is that his real name?
Yeah.
Oh, I just call him Rain. I don't know. We're buddies.
He does a lot of American acting now.
Okay. All right. Next story. I'm still frightened by that one.
So my other favorite YouTube clip of the week, Marshawn Lynch selling Skittles on the Home Shopping Network is the best thing ever.
Okay, we're going to watch that after this concludes because there's nothing I love more than Skittles. If I do love one thing more, it's Marshawn Lynch. The time he put velvet ropes around his car outside the club cracked me up to no end because, you know, that's just the ultimate I'm important. What? Look at my car.
Didn't he park his white Lambo in a red zone, like in a red area, to walk into a donut shop and buy a donut?
At least he didn't lick any of them. Like, what is that, an Ariana Grande story or something?
Did you watch the Marshawn Lynch and Rob Gronkowski video on Conan?
Absolutely. That was one of the better Maddens I've ever seen played.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, also, weren't they playing, like, Mortal Kombat? The new Mortal Kombat?
New Mortal Kombat. I thought it was Madden. But Gronkowski's a funny guy, but Marshawn Lynch is so unself-aware, like so not self-aware.
I think he is self-aware. I think you don't give him enough
He's
credit.
in on the joke.
I think he's unapologetically himself while also being aware of how it comes
It's
across.
either that or he's just the best trash talker of all time.
I think it's both.
Because Gronk like has to try. Like Gronk like
Yeah, Gronk is making jokes and Marshawn is being Marshawn and slaying.
I like it so much better. I'm going to rewatch that video after this as well. We actually have to get to a fantasy draft. So next topic.
So Bill O'Brien is keeping a swear jar for all of his cursing on Hard Knocks.
How have we not gotten to the Peja story yet? How have you not brought up Peja Stojakovic
I'm
yet?
trying so hard not to
Okay.
bring it up.
Well, so we could have a swear jar for the show, but
Here's
it'd just
the
be
thing.
empty every week.
Hopefully.
Here's the thing. Bill O'Brien is going to take the proceeds of the swear jar, and he's also encouraging everyone else that's on the team
We're
to
going to buy Tom
also-
Brady a cell phone?
They're going to donate the money to charity afterwards.
Okay.
The charity of Tom Brady's cell phone.
Yeah.
Yes. They're going to get him an Android phone so he can't break it.
Oh,
He's
right.
on the family plan with Giselle and Belichick and Wes Welker.
Aw,
I know. Wes Welker, it's the cell phone that's doing all the damage to his brain, not the
exactly. CTE, cell phone cost.
cell phone telepatha enthalopy.
That's
I can't say that last word.
Encephalopathy.
I can't say enthalopy. Okay, I'm done.
Just give it up.
Will Smith.
The Clippers are in the planning stages of having a team mascot. The team won't have it by opening night, but
it gonna
they
be a
may have
boat?
one by the All-Star break.
No, it's going to be
hoping-
Clippy.
Clippy.
Clippy from
Clip?
Microsoft
Yes.
Word.
It's going to be a
Steve
sponsored.
Ballmer
It's going to be a
sponsored.
sponsored mascot.
It's
Let's
got to
make it
be
happen.
Clippy, right?
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
No.
I see you're trying to win the championships. Would you like help with that?
I see you just lost your center. You should drive to his house and try to get him back.
I see you've locked yourself into a house using a chair. Would you like help with that?
I thought my boat joke was going to be so good, and then you guys just murdered it with Clippy.
Yeah, well, or it could be a barber. They could have a guy with some clippers.
Oh, I get it.
Or it could just be a giant pair of ceremonial scissors.
Edward Scissorhands, maybe.
Or it could-
Johnny Depp's doing stuff.
It could be Flea in a red onesie jumpsuit with giant cardboard clippers, like in the Big Lebowski.
Oh, my goodness.
Just
Where's the money,
nihilist-
Balmer? Where's the
nihilist
money?
running down the court. Where's
Oh,
the money,
no.
Crystal?
Oh, no.
Where's the money, Muniz? Those are the only famous Clipper fans
what's
I
a
could think of.
nihilist? It means he doesn't believe in anything.
Sounds exhausting.
Exhausting.
So on that note, the Royals have found themselves in an itchy situation.
Oh, Lord.
Is it a whoppy situation?
It's the varicella zoster virus, to be exact, VZV, a.k.a. chicken pox.
Herrera and Rios both have adult chicken pox.
Oh, man.
So they're doing a bunch of damage control, making sure that it doesn't spread.
Making sure everyone else has had chicken pox.
Yeah, making or the vaccine. But But the good news is they're up 12 games in AL Central, so
They'll be fine.
They'll be
Here's the
fine.
thing. Never had chickenpox.
Oh, yeah?
Never had them.
Oh,
you
my.
never went to a chickenpox party?
I've had chickenpox pie.
Oh.
Never been to a chickenpox party. Is that where parents try to give their kids
Yeah.
chickenpox?
The kid in the
Really?
neighborhood has chickenpox.
And everyone else
so
has to go hang out with them?
Yeah, you send all your kids
No,
over there to
actually,
get
when my
chickenpox.
neighbor got staph, I went and swam in his pool. My mom pushed me in.
You went to a staff party?
Staph party.
Staff only.
Does that take place at Staff of Life?
Oh, MRSA me.
Oh,
That's
God,
a
this just
staph
got too
infection
punny.
joke. Dude, we're so good at this.
So, the Yeovil Town Football Club
The
tweeted
who?
a shout out.
Who?
They're an English football club.
Okay.
Tweeted a shout out to the Barnet Football Club, another,
This
for
is soccer
cleaning,
talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
soccer talk, for cleaning and mopping up the visitors' locker room after their game.
That's pretty polite.
Yeah.
Really cool of them.
What division is this? Like the fourth
Oh, God,
division?
Yeah, it's low rung.
Yeah, this would be like the Modesto A's shouting out the Salinas Peppers.
You don't know any other California League teams, do you?
The,
I don't know, the Salinas
Salinas
Peppers.
the
That was
Gilroy
a
Garlic
thing,
Syrup
right?
That was a
Kings.
thing?
Yeah, that was a
No,
team
no.
at some point in time.
No, I'm gonna look this up, but not when I was there. It's like the Lake Elsinore Storm, the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, the Bakersfield
Okay.
Blaze,
What about like the Salinas Valley Lowlanders?
the Stockton Ports,
The Crescent
the
City
Stockton
Mountaineers?
Ports, my
the
childhood.
San Jose Giants. There's no Salinas Peppers.
Okay, but anyways, it would be along that line.
Well, I spent a lot of time in visitors' locker rooms, and they're always the worst. You know, it's 25 dudes plus coaches packed into half the amount of space that the home team gets, and the home team doesn't get that much space. So it was dirty. It was full of baby powder because those guys dust off their junk after they take a shower.
Of course.
That was the thing that always perplexed me. So much junk dusting.
Well, it gets sweaty.
It does. It does. It was hot in there. The
Chafing's
showers
a
were
thing.
hot. The towels were always too small for my 15-year-old eyes to want them to be. Wanted them to be much bigger. All right, Tori. One more topic, then we gotta go.
So this is horrifying and impressive all at the same time. Glasgow Warriors' Sean Lamont casually puts his shoulder back into place after it's dislocated in the middle of a rugby match. That is quite the face you're making, Thomas.
I don't think my shoulder's ever been in the right place. So
I've seen someone do this during a pickup basketball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, just someone who's had shoulder problems in the past. When it becomes easier for your shoulder to dislocate, they just understand the feeling, they pop it
Yeah.
back in, and then they know they can't play for a while.
There's a great video of him getting plowed straight into his shoulder. The moment game is like delayed for the slightest moment, he just takes a knee and just pops it back in.
Did he keep playing?
Yeah.
That's the real
Kept
question.
playing.
it's rugby, man.
They thought that they were going to have to pull him, and he popped it back in. You could hear the commentator saying, "Ooh, looks like he might be out." Oh, nope, he is back in. All right.
So in that sport, you can carry the ball across the goal and get some points, right?
I don't know how that sport works
Oh,
at all. I think
It's
it
just
involves counting, though.
More counting.
More counting
All I know is that it's a bunch of attractive, athletic men
in small clothes.
in small clothes.
Oh, Tori, you ruin the show every week. All right, it's time
Favorite
for.
segment.
I know, it's my favorite segment. Now it's time for some thank yous and some glorious self-promotion. Thank you to producer Tory. Your topics and your ingenuity and your engineering are always appreciated. You can find all episodes of Coach's Decision on iTunes because of producer Tory by searching our names or the name of the show, or on YouTube at Coach's Decision. Follow the show on Twitter at Coach's Decision. That's COACHS Decision. If you can't spell that, don't follow us. Follow me on Twitter at Giants Todd and Joaquin at Walk, JOAQ_Nagel, NAGLE. Any thoughts or questions can be dropped straight into the show's Twitter feed. Thanks always to Joaquin, my co-host. I could not do this show without you, buddy. Thanks to Chris behind the boards. You are listening to KSCO 1080 AM, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey.